You're watching Inside Automotive with Cheyenne Malone.
Hi everyone, I'm Cheyenne Malone. Today we're taking a look at the trends that will reshape the retail automotive market and redefine consumer choices this year. Joining us to share what he's seeing and predicting, we have Shawn Vaughan, owner and CEO of Vaughan Automotive. Welcome, Shawn.
Thank you as always.
Talk to us about, some of the trends that we see unfolding. One of them is a resurgence of new car inventory. The industry is seeing on average 60 and 90-day inventory levels now. What are you seeing at your dealerships in your market?
Yeah, Toyota. Yeah, thank you. Toyota is definitely on the lower end of the spectrum from an inventory standpoint. Inventory levels across the board are rising, and they're rising fast. That's not to say that volume isn't there, right? I mean, we're not lacking the volume, which is driving inventories. Really, the manufacturer is getting back to core, core production, and so we're seeing better inventories, and it's better for the customer. I mean, let's be honest. The days of COVID and the inventory situations during COVID, it just was not a very good customer situation. So, from what we see at domestics, I do not own a domestic store, but domestics and some of the other, OEMs, their day supplies are definitely rising 60 to 90 days, things of that nature. What we're seeing on the ground from a Toyota perspective is probably closer to 30 to 45 days.
Okay.
And we really would like to see that continue. That's a really good day supply for us. It's enough to have options for the customers when they walk in and want to see a product, but it's a perfect balance from a floor plan expense standpoint to keep our expenses down.
So you're kind of right where you want to be at this point.
We are, yeah.
Talk to us about the shift in interest towards EVs and hybrids. Are you seeing that from your customers? Does it kind of just depend on the area?
I mean, there's no doubt that Tesla has done an amazing job jumping into the EV and creating a market for themselves. If you look back to news articles in 2021 and 2022. Toyota really, and Akio specifically, took some really heavy hits from the media and certain government agencies of why Toyota was not jumping into the EV market. And what you're seeing today is almost a backlash of consumer decisions. The key is options, not obligations, right? Mm-hmm. And when you have an EV, you are obligated to one source of fuel, and that is power. So, when we look at hybrid and specifically plug-in hybrid PHEV, that's really where Toyota shines and is moving towards 100% hybrid in the lineup. And you're seeing Ford and some of the other domestics follow suit, right? I mean, you can see the news articles coming out almost daily about pullback of not only EV manufacturing, but the investment in EV manufacturing plants, and then you start seeing some incredible news about hydrogen and some of the OEMs that are jumping into the hydrogen train. And then there was a really neat article about Toyota releasing a hydrogen kit to convert combustible engines to. So, the EV landscape is coming. There's no doubt we would be naive to think that there's not a future in EV, but by no means is it in the volume or the adoptability in volume that the industry thought it was going to be.
Makes sense. And, interest rates, obviously that has an impression on some of the people, across the country. Has that influenced consumer behavior for you from your perspective?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, when you're looking at an $80,000 truck, an 8% interest rate versus a 4% interest rate really does price certain consumers out of the market on those vehicles. And that's why in some of the other interviews that I've had with you guys, I have stressed to the dealer body in general that if you're not good in used cars, times like these can cinch up a little bit from a new car perspective. And so as cost of manufacturing and the price of cars go up, and then you have interest rates go up, people are going to look for relief somewhere, and that's going to be in the price of a car. And so that's why having certified pre-owned, low mileage, late model vehicles that a consumer can move to, and having those in your inventory, and having a used car strategy for customers that are a little bit more payment sensitive due to interest rates is such a critical factor to our sustainability as a company. So yeah, absolutely.
And even providing those options, I think too, helps people kind of go through that process. And you mentioned pre-owned vehicles, so we'll talk about that a little bit. We are seeing people, it seems like at least, hold on to their pre-owned vehicles, used vehicles much longer.
Sure, yeah.
What are your predictions as we move forward and through 2024?
Well, as new car availability comes back, that puts people that have delayed their buying decision over the past 3 years back into a buyer's market. And those that have been holding on to their vehicle because they couldn't find the vehicle that they were looking for, or the price was too high, or whatever the reason is, we're going to start seeing used car prices lighten on low scarcity vehicles. But the challenge really is, and this is what I really don't have a crystal ball in, is that you have you've been deficient in new car inventory for 3 years. And that naturally is going to make a deficiency in used car inventory, right? And so, yes, new car inventories are coming back, and that's going to soften used car prices, and we are seeing that. But with the lack of used cars in the market, that's still creating some scarcity just by the sheer nature that there just aren't enough used cars in the market. So I think that we're starting to see some teeter-tottering of getting back to normal business in terms of new car volume. From a used car perspective, my guess is that used car business is going to stay really, really good as long as interest rates are above 7%. That's going to keep people looking for value. And so that, coupled with the fact that there just is not enough used car inventory, now moving forward into 2025 and 2026, as new cars become used cars, we'll start to see a normalcy in used car valuation and things of that nature. So that's good for everybody.
Any final thoughts before we say goodbye, Shawn?
Yeah, business is good. And, regardless of the circumstances around us, and I'm not saying that a major economic, situation would not change what I'm saying, but, even as interest rates and inflation and things of that nature, we're seeing a lot of positivity going into 2024, even with an election year, and inflation, reports, not as good as we would like. We're really, really positive on 2024, but I will say this, that is because I've surrounded myself with some really talented people. And it's because of that I'm really enthusiastic about 2024, focusing on getting back to the basics of this business and making sure that we are delivering a truly exceptional guest experience is what we're really focused on. And so, I'm just super grateful that, we have such a great team, and that gives me a lot of positivity and strength going into this year.
Going back to the basics. Love it, love it. Shawn Vaughan, owner and CEO of Vaughan Automotive. Thanks so much for your insight today, Shawn.
Thank you.
And thank all of you for watching Inside Automotive exclusively right here on CBTnews.com and now streaming on Roku and Apple TV.
Thanks for watching Inside Automotive with Cheyenne Malone.